What I'm saying now is I'm warning people against this low-fat vegan advice that you get. Cut out all the nuts, don't have oil. Now, I'm agreeing with not having the oil. How can you have oil and nuts? Well, that's way too many calories. You've got to pick one or the other. You don't want to put oil in your diet. That's empty calories. That doesn't protect you against cancer. Your fat calories should come from nuts, not oil. It's excess calories. You can't use an excessive amount of nuts because it'll be an excessive amount of calories. You're not on a nutritarian diet if you're using an excessive amount of calories. Your total caloric count has to keep you at a favorable weight. But if you're not eating nuts and seeds and you're not taking a DHA supplement, then you could be both fatty acid deficient and DHA deficient. And DHA deficiency leads to shrinkage of the brain, depression, anxiety, and dementia. And lots of vegans leave a vegan diet because they become depressed or anxious on a vegan diet because of DHA deficiency. There was a study done, funded by the Nutritional Research Foundation, where they took 166 vegans who were not supplementing with DHA, and they took their blood for DHA and got their omega-3 index. And they found about 65% of those people were DHA insufficient, and about 25% were radically and severely deficient. They could have been demented if they followed that plan through the rest of their life. And as a physician caring for this community for the last 30 years, I've seen hundreds of people on vegan diets come to me in their elderly years demented. I have some now that come to me in their 90s. They're in their mid-90s. They're in great health. They're in phenomenal health. But their memory's gone and their brain is gone because they weren't told they should be taking DHA. Some people can produce enough DHA, yes, but the differences from people to people are genetically determined based on conversion enzyme sufficiency or insufficiency. It's not based on the quality of your diet. There are some people claiming out there in the internet world that the reason why some vegans are getting deficient in DHA is because their diet is a junk food vegan diet with too much oil in it. That should they eat a healthy vegan diet with whole plant foods and nuts, or eat greens, whatever they should be eating, they wouldn't have become DHA deficient. That is untrue. It's not what we found, and there's no studies that show that. That's a theory. In actual, what we found was that there was no correlation between those vegans eating healthier and taking in flax seeds or chia seeds for their source of DHA fat, or not eating oil, and their production of DHA. That was genetically determined, not based on what the precursors they were eating. So all the chia seeds or flax seeds in the world, or eating all the green vegetables without oil, isn't going to assure you to have DHA adequacy. That's not factual. And it's your job to assure you have DHA adequacy on a vegan diet because it's your brain and it's your life. Right? These people are not care about you. They care about themselves, or they would be more cautious in their advice and not taking risks with your health. You following me? So here's a study that showed 1,000 women followed for 8 years, greater DHA omega-3 index, had larger brain volumes. That means that when you had the index below 3.5, you had shrinkage of the brain. And brain shrinkage obviously causes dementia. And this adequacy is more important if lifespan is enhanced. Because who cares if your brain is gone if you're going to die at 70 or 65 anyway, like other Americans. They're not going to live long enough to be demented. It's more important for us people who are going to live a long time. You follow that one? Now here's a study on cholesterol lowering effect of a nutritarian diet. I'm going to go rapidly now, which showed that it lowered cholesterol more powerfully than statin drugs, but when a nutritarian diet, because of all those antioxidants, it takes away the most dangerous type of cholesterol, the oxidized LDL. It wipes it out. Can't be compared to the efficacy of a drug, because the drugs cause weight gain and diabetes and make you feel fatigued. And the nutritarian diet reduces inflammation and causes and smooths out and makes your inner lining of your blood vessel more slippery and better blood flow and restores elasticity and lowers free radical production and fuels the production of the antioxidant response element. There's a million different mechanisms in which you benefit. And a study of over 400 people, a nutritarian diet dropped the people's blood pressure 26 points, more than drugs can, without the cancer-causing effects of those drugs. When they're giving you the drug and writing the prescription, is the doctor saying to you, I want you to know that you could lower this better with a diet, but the drug's going to increase your risk of breast cancer by 50%, But here it is if you want it. Did they tell you that? Well, if he didn't, it's malpractice. What could it? Because first of all, there's a lot of other reasons why the drugs, not just because they cause breast cancer, but they also push diastolic too low and can cause irregular heartbeat too. To get diastolic to a favorable range, they had to push the systolic. To push the systolic to a favorable range, they had to push the diastolic to an unfavorable range, which is too low. You can't get the blood flow back to the heart again fast enough. Now you're going to an irregular heartbeat. These drugs are dangerous. I'm promising you that you don't have to have a heart attack or a stroke. But that promise can't be met through medication. It can only be met if you have a normal blood pressure without medication, if you have a normal cholesterol without medication, if you have normal glucose and diabetic parameters without medication. I have a normal body weight without medication and a normal body weight without gastric banding or gastric bypass. You have to earn these parameters to have them to be protected. Do you get that? The prescription here is to eat some beans every day, have a big salad every day, have at least 3 fresh fruits a day. And at least one of those should be berries or pomegranates or cherries or some low-sugar fruit like kumquats. And have at least an ounce or an ounce and a half of nuts and seeds a day, about a half an ounce with each meal, particularly with your raw vegetable meals to facilitate absorption of those phytonutrients. Have a big salad every day. Have some cooked vegetables every day at a wok or something. And have some mushrooms and onions every day too. When you're on an SAD diet, the standard American diet, your lifespan is a crapshoot. You could live, it's a wide bell. You know what that means, a wide bell-shaped curve? It means if the average American lives at 80, the bell is wide. You can live to be 100, but you can also die at 60. You don't know where you're going to fall on that bell. 60, 65, 70, 80, 85. Life becomes a crapshoot. On a nutritarian diet, you don't just shift the bell over 20 years. You don't just increase the chance of you living to be 100, but you narrow the bell. You know what that means, to narrow the bell? It means on a nutritarian diet, you're living longer, yes, but even people with weaker genetics live a long life. So the bell becomes, so the people with weaker genetics live to be 95, and the people with better genetics live to be 105, but there's nobody dying at 60 or 50 or 75, no matter, because there's not going to be such a big wide variance here. Do you follow what I'm saying here? So let's look at some examples. Here's Emily from Fort Wayne, Indiana. There she is 1 year later, 120 pounds lighter. Take a look at her face. See how much younger she looks? These are unretouched photos. See the wrinkling and the skin color and the skin tone and the skin texture? It's just 1 year later, no longer depressed and sickly. But people are almost aging backwards because it shows you how bad the diet was. She's not aging backwards. We're just giving her back the health she always would have had if she ate properly, right? We're making her telomeres healthier again. We're making her live longer. We're giving her back the potential to live a longer life again now. And you can see it on her face. Here's Jody a year later, having lost about 20 pounds, but the point was that she got rid of her psoriatic arthritis. And I could show you cases that got rid of their lupus and multiple sclerosis. That nutritional excellence is powerful. It's powerfully effective therapeutically so people don't have to suffer. And here's Scott, who lost 300 pounds. 300 pounds. He's not on a diet. He's eating to live longer to prevent cancer. So he's not going to gain the weight back, and he didn't. And here's John, 23 years later. He's the guy on the right. That's a joke. Gotta laugh. Here's the point with John. He had chest pain and had a stress test that was abnormal. His cardiologist said he needed stent placement urgently. And I said, John, give me 3 months. This is not urgent. You're not having pain at rest. You're only having pain with exercise. You're not undergoing a heart attack. I'll show you we can reverse this. He goes back to his cardiologist 3 months later, and the cardiologist says, I can't believe it. I've never ever seen a case where your heart disease was reversed and your stress test improved like that, especially at all, even in any amount of time, let alone 3 months. Of course he never saw it. He never advised people what to do. You just see sick people and make them worse. And a stent doesn't make you live longer. It makes you live shorter. Because now you have a foreign body in your heart that can cause a clot for the rest of your life Or now you're going to be on clot-busting drugs or blood-thinning drugs the rest of your life. And here John is at 97 with no heart disease and no blood pressure problems now that he had when he was younger. As you get older, you don't develop these conditions. As a fact, as he got older, he got better. Blood pressure got lower because more years on the diet. And here's Steve and Tara. There's Steve. So Tara weighed 226 and Steve weighed 447. The first year, Tara lost 80 pounds. Steve lost 220 pounds that first year. 220 pounds in 1 year. I just had a person who left my health retreat last year. She was there for 6 weeks and she lost 50 pounds while she was there for 6 weeks. In the year after she left, she lost 150 pounds. The 50 plus the 150, she lost 200 pounds in 1 year. Now, would she have accomplished that without coming into the retreat? Of course not. You know why? Because in the food addiction retreat, the food addiction center, where we come to my retreat, we deal with their emotional issues, is why they become emotional overeaters. We get rid of their physical addictions. We give them the food quality that's going to get the nutrients into their brain and the recipes with the chefs to make the food taste incredible. And they take the time of being there, enough time being there for 4 to 12 weeks. She was there for 6 weeks. It takes time to get rid of the attraction to your cocaine and to your donuts and to your sugar. You're there for a week or two, you're going to go back. The problem with these places where you're there a week or two is you go back home and you gain the weight back. You need to train overweight, food-addicted people how to maintain this lifestyle and live it for the rest of your life. You have to learn how to enjoy it and live it permanently, or it's not going to benefit you. Anything you learn and decide to do that's right for you, keep doing it. But we're teaching people how to maintain it and how to love it. So Steve, he lost their daughter Chloe lost 32 pounds. Of course, he got rid of his sleep apnea, his diabetes. She got rid of her body pain, her depression, her sinus infections, her allergies. Their daughter Chloe got rid of her asthma. They're completely different people. Different emotional outlook on life. The fog lifts, they think differently. And you know who's really thrilled about this? Super duper thrilled about it? Right, the dog. Take a look. He's finally got some room to sit in the car. All right, I'm wrapping up here. My website is drfuhrman.com. I have people to support you there. Members where people can communicate with each other. Ask the doctor and get advice from me and my medical staff. Food addictions counselors. We even have a nutritarian dog section. You communicate with people, you get advice, you get support, you get feeling of community, and you get the information you need to protect your precious health. And nutritionalresearch.org, nutritionalresearch.org. That's the nonprofit website of the Nutritional Research Foundation. We want to support some of the research being done. We're starting a men's health study to show to prevent against prostate cancer. We have 2,500 women enrolled in the women's health study. We want more women to join. And if you're a nutritarian pledging to follow this diet, you can come to that website, click on that, and be a participant in that study. So support our research or be part of the participant in that research. If you're a beginner and you're overweight and your weight is yo-yoing, the book I'm recommending to you is The End of Dieting. That's the starter book, The End of Dieting, to deal with food addictions and yo-yo dieting and to get you on a steady and consistent plan for the rest of your life. I have some books here. I have my Eat to Live cookbook. We've designed these recipes and created them over years. They're incredibly delicious. This way of eating is more tasty and delicious. And when people eat this way longer, their taste buds acclimate and get stronger. They like it even more. We're not suffering. I know people are thinking or saying, they're going, well, just kill me right now if I'm going to eat vegetables my whole life. I'd rather just eat, right? They're saying, I want to eat what I want to eat. I'd rather die younger. It's not just dying younger. It's killing yourself along the way, suffering your whole life, and you're not enjoying food more. Absolutely not. You're enjoying food less. You've weakened your taste buds. Your addictions are driving you. That's your irrational, food-addicted self-talking. For those of you who know people who are diabetic and overweight and food addicts and need extra help, some people can't do this on their own. In my facility, they're under my care with serious medical conditions, and we're rationing down carefully under medical supervision to reduce their medications to be able to take pretty sick people and deal with psychologists who specialize in food addiction and therapists who specialize in helping these people, and we get these people better again. and we set them free, or we let them set them free, they leave. When they leave, they've got the skills and the different psychology and the ability to stick with this and to be able to enjoy it and continue the benefits. So I guess that's it. I'll be here to take a few questions. I have 3 or 4 more minutes. Thank you for coming.